Thank you, Kate. Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us and for taking some time out to learn a little bit more about this flagship program that IAC has. Hopefully you can see my screen okay. I know it takes sometimes a little bit of time for the presentation to update, so I may pause a little bit between slides. Today's agenda, we will be looking at the importance of staff development in the meetings industry, just touching upon that a little bit. We'll also give a little bit of history of the Global Staff Exchange Program. And I'm thrilled to welcome one of our members today, Lotta Boman, CEO of Sigtunahöjden Conference Centre just outside of Stockholm. And maybe I'll take this opportunity just to check. Lotta, have you been able to join us okay at this stage?
Yeah, I'm here, yes.
Welcome.
Can you hear me?
Perfect.
Yeah, thank you.
Perfectly. Hi, Lotta.
I can't see your screen though.
Okay. Is anyone else able to see the presentation and screen? Could I just check before we go any further?
Yes, I can see it, Jackie.
Okay, Jackie can see it. Yeah. And Matthew, Lotta, there might be something with your end in regards to your browser, but looks like the screen is showing for everybody.
Okay, maybe I don't have the right link.
I'll certainly give you all the introductions, hopefully, as well. They're just some pretty pictures as well, so we'll be absolutely fine. We'll fill you in as we go through. Just to continue with today's agenda, we will look at the employee, the associate members criteria for participating in the Global Staff Exchange, and equally we'll look at the criteria and the process for the employer. So that we'll get a good understanding from both sides how to undertake or how to initiate an actual exchange opportunity. Then we'll touch upon the process for actually applying and going through that. And then we'll be happy to open up for any Q&A that you have. Again, taking advantage of Lotta being on the call, who has undertaken the Global Staff Exchange Program with a number of her staff as well over the years. So Lotta or myself or Kate will be pleased to assist and answer any questions. So really, as an introduction, just as we know in life in general, those students, those hospitality students, those incoming generations into the workplace are increasingly comfortable not only with travel globally, but it's fair to say that they are stimulated and they really do look for opportunities to broaden their knowledge, broaden their skills, and are not afraid to pack a case and go and spend time working in other areas. Just as we are seeing with internships in the hospitality schools, there's a real appetite to be able to spread their wings. And with IAC being an association that is based in, we have members in now 28 countries around the globe. Hopefully we're in a pretty good spot to be able to help satisfy some of that appetite to learn. Our staff that are within our organisations that are very precious, as we know, particularly those that are our future leaders, those that we want to stay within our organisation, grow within our organisation, and be a long-term part of the success of our organisation. But to do that, they've got, again, we mentioned, they've got a willingness and a desire to develop. They're interested in learning those new skills, working within even a new team whilst staying within the organisation they're passionate about, rather than leaving and feeling that from a CV perspective that they need to go and work for another employer. So it's in our interest to be able to retain them, to satisfy some of these desires to build relationships, have unforgettable experiences, experience cultural differences as well, and being able to bring some of those ideas that they see from within other venues back to their workplace, back to their own teams, to be able to make a difference. So the aspirations are are pretty high from those next generation of workforce coming in. Of course, for those that know IAC and have been involved in IAC for a number of years, in part that's satisfied by going on IAC events, IAC study tours, attending conferences, building relations and building your network of colleagues in the hospitality industry globally. The Global Staff Exchange Program is just one other way that you can do that to a greater degree. So let's have a look at IAC's Global Staff Exchange Program and really consider how you can use that to develop your own team. A little bit about the program. We've been running for 10 years. The Staff Exchange Program is well embedded into IAC's culture, and there's a number of members worldwide that have participated, as well as a number of employees that have benefited from the Staff Exchange Program. It was again developed and really the mindset of helping staff grow, creating a proper structured program to help staff retention, to be self-managed in many ways. And we'll talk about how we make the process work, how we connect the general managers and the leadership of the properties, the HR directors, to one another within the organizations so that they can self-manage the process. And to our knowledge, we're pretty proud of the fact that although it has been running for 10 years, it's still a very unique program. For those who can see the screen, and I appreciate Lotta can't. Lotta, I'm showing a wonderful picture of you and your team, all smiling with your team members showing off their sustainable uniforms. But I'm going to ask Lotta. To speak for a moment about, firstly, on the back of some very sad news that happened in 2011 when there was a tragedy at Sigtunahöjden and the conference centre burnt down and rendered it closed for nearly a year. But out of that tragedy, Lotta's just going to tell us a little bit about how she used the Global Staff Exchange Program to hopefully benefit in the years that followed. Lotta, we'd love to hear your stories.
Yeah, what happened was actually it was in 2013, so it's almost soon it will be 4 years ago. But when our venue burnt down so sadly, but what we did because we had an insurance that covered all the wages and everything for the staff, which was very good, but staff couldn't really work because there was no place to work. So we did like an individual plan for each and every member of the staff, and a lot of them had to work, of course, with things that had to do with the rebuilding, but we also had a few that wanted to travel, go somewhere, and I reached out to the IAC community, and everybody sort of came back to me and offered different positions in the world. And there were 2 of our staff members that went to Australia, and they stayed there for I think they were away for 2 weeks. And they visited. It was through Peter Stewart, and he helped us to find places to visit. And they could also the team that went, the 2 people from staff who went were working in the restaurant, so they got the opportunity to visit vineyards and restaurants, and also help out in the restaurant at the venue in Australia. So that's one example, and we've also had the kitchen team, the chefs. They've traveled as a group to our colleagues in the Netherlands and Capelle Put, and they visited a kitchen there, and they helped out to cook and to visit a restaurant and to discuss and learn from them about how they work there. So it's been very helpful, and it's been for most and all, it's been a great experience for the staff members, and all of these staff members who've been away on this are still working with me, actually.
Well, that's a great point. So you managed to retain the talent within the team, and they've gone on to grow and be part of the success of the new property Lotta. And I think that's what we hear our members are continually battling with and looking to ways of retaining that talent within the organisation. Did I remember one story of a staff member who went, having had a role in the restaurant and then came back and actually took on a different role, even as a sommelier, because of what they learned, they'd actually taken a career path change within the organisation.
Yeah, they did. And they also, and especially when it comes to for the restaurant in this case, serving, the different wines from the different countries. All of a sudden, if you've been to Australia, you've been to the vineyard, and you serve the wine here in Sweden, it's of course a great thing for our guests, of course, that we have staff that are really true to what they do, and they really have a story to tell while they are serving on our guests. And we also had two other members from the staff. They went to London to visit Alistair's venues as well. So they tried to work in the reception and in the conference department for a day venue in London. And that's also very, it's attractive, of course, and it's also nice just to go and see, even though it wasn't for 2 weeks in that case, but it was just for a few days, but still that counts as well. And they still appreciate those things. So I think it's a very good thing. And now I have some people on the marketing and sales departments who are eager to go away and do one of these staff exchanges. So now we're just looking for the right timing and when it can be doable.
So it become part of the culture for others within your property team as well, aspiring to want to go on and experience the way some of their colleagues have.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, Lotta, at the Q&A towards the end, we might have some further questions. I'm sure we will have, questions like how long did they go for? Did you have any challenges with visas or, anything like that with Australia? Or were there any other challenges or any advice that you'd give to others? But we'll save that to the Q&A at the end, and we'll go through that and raise questions within the group. But thank you. That's a great overview. It's always good to real life. Okay. So now we'll take a look at some of the common questions that come out of those that start to gain an interest, in regards to the staff exchange program. Who can participate? Well, any staff member from any department of an IACC member venue is eligible to participate. It could be a chef, could be director of operations, food and beverage, front of house. We heard about the reception team there, front of house team with Lotta. Really, anybody who is going to benefit from the exposure to, by going to another conference venue in a different environment, can participate. How long is the exchange period? Well, really, it can be as long as you want it to be. It's any period that's acceptable with the host conference property team, and of course with the leadership of the team that the associate, that the staff member is a part of, and how long they can afford to be without them. It will need to be within a maximum time frame for a visitor's permit between two countries if they exist. But we do say, for it to be really valuable, there may be, 4 weeks as a minimum, up to 8 weeks is they're common time frames. What are the costs involved in participating? Well, it's really straightforward. There's no fees associated with the program. The employer is responsible for the employee's travel expenses, and must continue to pay for the employee's salary during the exchange period. The host property, when it is a property with the accommodation, will take care of the staff members' lodging and meals during the exchange. So there's no costs on the individual, and the employers of the two respective organisations will support the staff member participating. Where can we send staff is another common question that we're asked. Well, really, whilst we recommend that you probably want to look to another country as opposed to looking to another IAC member within the same country, for competitive reasons, amongst a couple more. Really, as I mentioned, IAC has membership within 28 countries. We are very happy to set up staff exchange programs throughout the US, Canada, Europe, Africa, Australia, Asia Pacific, and Eastern Europe. So let's take a look at the employee and the associate criteria. Really, for the employee, as I mentioned, they have their payroll that is kept intact, and they have their travel expenses provided. They have to have, for obvious reasons, and we have to check that they have a current passport and are able to travel to the country that we arrange the program at. What we ask is that the employee who's going to undertake the actual exchange sets out some clear objectives of what they want to learn, what they want to experience for the exchange. It serves them really well in the long term. It keeps them focused to really learn the different aspects of that they want to from their exchange in property. It's also great for those objectives to be discussed with the GMs between the two properties as well, to make sure that they get the best experience. So now we'll take a look at the employer criteria. As we mentioned, the host employer will provide a room. They will provide meals. We have known where it's been a non-residential property that they have been willing to find short-term accommodation close by, maybe even sharing with other staff members during the period of the exchange. They will create a bespoke program for the employee. And again, apart from them just getting the experience from working, we do encourage our host properties to work really, apologies, let me just bring that slide back. It's decided to flip over. Here we go. We do encourage our employers to create a program for the employee which will bring in some cultural aspects, some of the team building within their staff and team, as well as obviously the on-the-job training as well. Potentially an opportunity to learn across different departments. It's always great to assign a mentor, and again, we encourage our host properties to assign a mentor, someone that can make contact, build a relationship before the staff member comes across, and just be there to support them during the period of the global staff exchange. And as we mentioned, supporting the cultural experiences, because it's a different country, is really important too. And if they have a great experience, who knows, they may even come back, as happened in Lotta's case, and be able to grow into a completely new role. So registering interest to participate is really straightforward. If you go to iaconline.org and search under the resources tab, you'll find a page dedicated to the Global Staff Exchange Program. The guidelines that we've just talked through now are there to download for both the guest, the staff member, and also the host property. But also within that page, they can register their interest and complete a form to be able to participate. What happens then is the IACC staff will receive the request either from a property who says, we're ready to take someone in, we'd like to bring somebody in, and they, of course, by bringing in an exchange student, they actually will benefit from that person's skills and new ideas as much as the individual will benefit from, working within a property. So it's it can be a real win-win opportunity for both the host venue and the student themselves. But so both a property can register an interest in taking on a student, as well as a student register an interest, and we ask them to give us an idea of the country or the continent that they're interested in, and then we'll reach out and we'll start to make contact with the IACC members. Then we will put the exchange student in touch with the general manager, usually at the host property, and they will undertake the process that we've just talked about. So it's really straightforward, works very well, and it's quite a simple process to undertake, hopefully with a great output at the end. So that's given you a flavour for the programme, hopefully. Very happy to open up to questions now from everybody. Questions either of myself or Kate or Matthew on the call from the staff side, or indeed Lotta from an experienced side. But we'll open up to Q&A now.
Hi, Mark. It's Caroline here.
Hello, Caroline. Good afternoon. How are you?
Hi, I'm well. We're all on one call here because we couldn't get good connections. In fact, we kept dropping off, so we're on a mobile at the moment. But we're hearing you well. Just a quick question, and I think I know the answer, but just to check, you don't have to have a mutual exchange setup to do this, do you? You can send an employee or receive someone else's employee without necessarily doing both at the same time.
It's a great question. Thank you. And you're absolutely right. Yes, it doesn't have to be reciprocal. It can be reciprocal, and it can be great if it is, from the respective, from gaining a staff member and losing one, they can sit in each other's positions at the same time, but absolutely it does not need to. So you can be a host without having a member of the staff that wants to reciprocate.
Yeah. So if, for example, we had a member of staff, say from our chef team, who was passionate about trying something new, you wouldn't necessarily have to find a chef to come and replace them. You could just manage from your existing team and send someone away if there's another venue that wants to take them.
Yes, absolutely. If there's another venue that wants to take them on and give them that experience, then they could do that. Equally, if the following year you have somebody having been a host, if you've built a relationship, it's a little bit like twin towns. If you've built a relationship with a property in another country, and you've shared one member of staff, then in a year, 2 years' time, you may have an opportunity where you can reciprocate. But it can be a chef for a receptionist for a housekeeper. It doesn't have to be at the same time, or indeed the same disciplines. And in fact, Lotta, I don't know from your experiences, Lotta, have you had any reciprocal arrangements that have happened as a result of your team being at IACC Properties back in 2013?
No, I think it's it's not like that. I'm just sending out staff all the time, but I never have to host anyone. So
well, Lotta, we might be interested in sending someone to Sweden if you'll have us.
Yeah, of course, we'll have you. No problem.
I didn't anticipate a global staff exchange happening on this webinar, but I'm thrilled that it has.
Yeah. No, but I think it's a great opportunity. But sometimes I get questions about, especially when it comes to the US, because they're so particular about the work permits and things like that. But so I'm not so quite sure. Sometimes they are a little hesitant about it because they don't really know the rules. But I think it's just that you can look at it as you're there visiting, sort of learning and seeing what they're doing, like a study visit, more or less.
I'm sure that's very interesting, but for the moment, we're more interested in partnering with our European friends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Great. Any other questions? And you can ask questions via the chat box. I'm not sure if Rachel has microphone access, but feel free to just speak up now or type any questions in the chat box. Lotta, one question I have of you is how long did your staff generally go out for? What was the period of their staff exchanges, and did that turn out to be a good length of time for them to be away?
Well, you said a much longer time that I could send them away for, so I think that was a little too long, Mark. But we sent away our staff at the longest was 2 weeks. Actually, okay. So I think it's hard to be without them more than that, depending on what time of the year it is, of course. But or unless they use part of their I don't know, vacation time or something like that. But more than 2 weeks would be hard, I think.
That's great to know from a perspective that a shorter time period still can deliver results as well. So it can be a week,
mm-hmm.
and still.
Really, yeah, absolutely.
That's great to know. Thank you. Any other questions before we close today's webinar? Just one more moment for any other questions that anyone may have. Okay, well, thank you everyone for joining us today. I hope that's been a valuable highlighting of one of IACC's key events and key programs. Do join us for other IACC webinars. We are continually running them, not only in regards to our programs and initiatives, but also our sales training, our operations training as well. And that we will send a copy of this recording and a link following today's session so that you can share within your teams. But wish you all a great rest of the week and happy holidays for those as we come up fast to Christmas. And yeah, thank you for your attendance today.
Yeah, thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.